Today we have a huge update to bring out, and look, I will admit I was pretty tired upon releasing my most recent video, but once I saw the contents of this update, I got more and more excited, so without further ado, let's dive into it. In the great words of 𝐏𝐋𝐀𝐃, they have said this. Dear Romers, 2021 was a big year for RotMG. We released many game-changing features and delivered functionalities that were promised long ago. The two biggest new additions to the game were the new completely reworked shatters and dungeon modifiers. And look, yes, both still need some tender love and care, but they're a big step towards our vision for the game. We ended the year by releasing our 18th class, the Kensei. Despite the changes that came with it, we still need to iron out some issues. While the situation is not exactly ideal, we expect it to be solved soon. 2021 was also the year when we planned to release the enchantments. As release day was getting close, we started to realize that there were some concerning issues with it. We weren't happy with the existing specifications, and we felt that in the current state of the game, it wouldn't be the addition we wanted it to be. First, we needed to make big changes of balancing the game, stats, and progression. Only then can we implement enchantments. And look, we're still in love with the idea, but for these reasons, it has to be postponed for now. Now, the first one is tackling latency. 𝐏𝐋𝐀𝐃 has said one of the goals for Easter 2022, this year at least, is to improve the experience for players that are having latency issues. They're developing a system that advises you to play on the best servers, available for you, with one of the most main latency issues can be being too far away from servers. To have shorter latency times is an important aspect of RotMG, and we're constantly, or at least they are constantly, working on improving them, and with that, the overall game experience. Now, here's my view on it. This is an interesting point because we as players use different servers in order to group together the small number of us through time zones, and I know myself as well as others are willingly experiencing lag in order to have a high player base in one place. So the statement feels more like an excuse just to get out of this whole ordeal for us to go to a different server than actually taking responsibility. So it's kind of not really an update, you know? If we were to find our best server, well then we already have that option available to us. We would go to the best server option at the top of our server select screen, which is already there, and we would select it. It's already there for brand new players when they jump in the game to jump into that brand new server and just jump to the most suitable one for them. Not only that, but that doesn't fix the issue that we have currently facing Discords. If we're required to go to a server for a specific run in a Discord, we do so, and that's pretty specific to that reason. Moving on to some cooler things though, we have overhaul updates for the dungeons, 𝐅𝐄𝐃𝐄𝐃, and the Mountain Temple. These were updates that were being brought to life by KidForce and Toasters before they abruptly left the team come last year. It was extremely sad when they left, and look, I was kind of thinking that a lot of their projects wouldn't exactly come to life or see the light of day, but that kind of stops now. The dungeon itself will not exactly be a remake, but in fact an improved version on what was already there. Both the dungeons are iconic, and look, as a veteran player, I feel like this change was much needed. Both dungeons are spectacular, but somewhat boring and time-consuming for what drops you get. Having the update to the shatters with more abilities and items was huge because it meant that it wasn't just a grind for some top tier ring anymore. You got additional items, so I'm hoping that they bring something like that, if not for veteran players, for newer players as well that are coming into the game. 𝐏𝐋𝐀𝐃 has also said that some of the general changes made are geared towards pacing and fairness with respect to dungeons' difficulty levels. From a more careful tweak of different phases and rhythm of the dragon's fights in the LoD, that is more respectful with players' time, to even complete rework of the 𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐿, the fallen boss from the Mountain Temple. Regardless of any negatives, I think that the change will bring good things, and I'm really looking forward to it, which kind of brings me to the most exciting one, well, second to none almost, item rebalances. Now on the blog it says, some time ago we introduced an item balancing patch, and we think it's time we do this again, and because of that, we've been working on rebalancing gear that needs some attention. For this project, your feedback has been invaluable. It's also worthy of comment how great the videos created by our esteemed content creators, which isn't me by the way, Their opinions have sparked a very interesting debate around certain items and design topics. Carefully analyzing that feedback has helped us make informed decisions and overall see the global view you players see. I'd prefer to be something other than just you players, but that's okay. While some of these items just have slight tweaks or adjustments to get back in shape, certain items underwent important changes, which we'll be able to see in the next patch notes. With this new batch of rebalanced items, they're kind of hoping that maybe we'll be able to see a different area of it. But look, I think it's great. I think that one of the best changes to it is actually happening to one of our esteemed classes, one of the older ones. Yeah, the bow classes. Yes, that's right. It's about time that we had a chance to one of our classes kind of creep back up due to the power creep that's been happening the last 3 years. And here's what they're doing to it. The first major change is that all tiered bows are now triple shot, whereas what it was restricted to tier 8 bows and above previously, tiered crossbows and double bows will disappear, and they pretty much have a good reason for this. I'm not too sure what it is yet, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. UT bow functionalities will mostly be kept as they are, with changes to their damage stats, as they're meant to be kind of like the out of the norm sort of weapons. And synergy with this rework, we're also changing how they're also changing how the bows fire. They're going to be redefining the general playstyle of bow classes. They'll be based on a central shot which will deliver about 60% of the bow's total damage at a low to mid defense, while the 2 side shots will pierce armor. Now look, I'm really looking forward to trying this out. I feel the playstyle has been the same, well, since forever. And it kind of might feel like playing a new class, and that's kind of a good thing. I think, at least. You see, the 3 bow classes minus the bard have been lackluster for such a fair amount of time, so any attention directed towards its way, it's pretty cool. It's more of a pro rather than a con, in my book at least. But it doesn't stop there. Additionally, there is also rebalancing to the katana. Katanas have historically been a little on the weak side, currently dealing similar damage to daggers despite having a lower range. In addition, many players often consider Enforcer to be the most useful UT choice, as almost all of the other UTs and STs had been balanced closely to the tiered weapons, making them lack quite a lot. And look, this is pretty true. However, it's always been, at least in my opinion, or a shared opinion, that piercing classes were lower damage because they could, well, pierce. Meaning that they had the ability to clear up groups of enemies at higher damage where other classes could not. However, they say due to this, we will be increasing the baseline damage values of the entire weapon class as well as tweaking a few UTs further where we deem it necessary. This is hopefully to bring katanas up to a damage value deserving of their range as well as the lower gap between most katanas and Enforcer, especially Valor, which is kinda cool. I would love to see a rebalance like this, I just want to know how they're going to do it. The proof isn't exactly in the pudding with just words. Rebalancing items takes more than just to make it useful again. And look, it's great in all accords, but they have to show what their purposes are in order to make them not discarded once the next powerful item or weapon is achieved. Now, Decker said something along the lines of this. During our talk about balancing issues, you might have noticed how their focus has sort of shifted from items being individually more powerful to making items an option, a meaningful choice for the situations that the item is designed for. With that in mind, they want to expand on basic options for all classes at all levels of progression. They're introducing new weapon types as a novelty in the realm, so that way all classes have new types of weapons available for their classes and also at their disposal. And they'll work with the same compatibility as current weapons. For example, bow classes will now be able to use crossbows as a completely new weapon type, which will feature a playstyle based on single-shot, powerful projectiles. So you'll be able to find tiered crossbows as well as UT crossbows the same you would with normal bows currently. I feel like this is pretty neat. I sort of feel like this is, I'm imagining an archer using a staff for the very first time, and it's very hard to picture in my head how that's gonna work, so I'm just gonna wait to review it in the game. Otherwise, we're gonna move on to some very cool changes that I wanted to talk about this whole time, and that's some changes to 2 classes called Assassin and Sorcerer. Now some of you are probably going to be really excited about this, and look, they're finally ready to deliver the long-awaited Sorcerer and Assassin rework. And they've both been on the to-do list, which I'm not surprised. It's been pretty, talked about for a while. And it's meant to be the rework of all their functionality, of all their abilities, besides, of course, the stat balancing, a mere numerical tweak, was not going to do the job exactly. So in regards to Sorcerer, now onto the Assassin class. And look, this is a class that had to undergo a pretty important change, and let's be honest, we all expected this. The Assassin's probably been on everyone's to-do list for a long period of time, giving ideas on how to sort of make the class work. And it's just been a class that no one really wants to play, unless you want to 5-star it, exalt it for any reason, or you're just a masochist. Whatever it is. Masochist. Whatever it is. Kind of like the issues for Assassin were pretty blatantly obvious for us after seeing how well the Polarity Poison was received, which highlighted how lacking the options really were. Besides there being Pogma, which was pretty well received as well, but even then, you're required to have it in Discord runs. So the overall DPS is kind of an incentive, so that way you have to use both the dagger and the poison in tandem. So to increase it and give it more damage would be amazing. It would boost the class entirely, because you don't just want to be using the dagger as a whole, because you'd just be better off being a trickster at that point. And this takes us on to our longest one, Seasoned Events. Now, this is a pretty controversial topic. I feel like it's both good and bad. So I'm just going to leave my opinions till the very last segment. For the meantime, let's focus on what 𝐏𝐃𝐄𝐀 has to say. Seasons. Seasons will change the game at its core, and it'll be a big step in the vision that they have for Realm of the Mad God. They'll not promise that all of these features will be implemented in time for Month of the Mad God, but the ones that aren't should be released throughout the rest of 2022. Each season will last roughly 8 weeks, and there will always be an open season, and you'll be able to choose to play normally with the normal characters or play with the seasonal characters. If you choose to play with the seasonal characters, you'll have access to challenge modes, and your character will have many additional changes or advantages comparing to playing normally. And if your character is alive at the very end of the season, you can still keep it. So this will be good for PPEs, MPEs, UPEs, SPEs, EPEs, whichever ones. I think the list goes on, even whitebag. Player experience, I think, is another one as well. But yeah, look, now this is a pretty extensive change with a lot of questions that I'd like to ask you and leave you with a lot of questions after what I have to say. The characters through seasons will likely be based similar to those PPEs like I mentioned. However, what isn't necessarily answered is whether items, fame, or other bonuses achieved by that PPE, or so forth, will remain on your account and can be used by, in any case, what they're referring to as normal characters. Another thing that Seasons will bring, which has already been talked about in previous videos, is that there's an important system coming in called the Battle Pass. And if you haven't played any games like Fortnite, Clash of Clans, Apex Legends, anything, then pretty much the Battle Pass will always be activated during Seasons and will replace current campaigns. It'll have free progression, so don't worry, you can still get bonuses on those, as well as a paid one. Now, what 𝐏𝐃𝐄𝐀 has to say on this is, you will be able to collect a new type of experience points called Battle Pass XP, or BXP for short. These points are collected by defeating monsters the same as normal XP, however bear in mind this resource is unrelated to regular XP/fame. At the start of the season, all Battle Points experience is reset to 0. As you progress through the Battle Pass acquiring BXP, at certain time zones, or milestones I should say, you can claim prizes, which should be required to, at a very minimum, have some sort of battle experience to claim. They'll be sent to your gift chest if they are inventory items, or otherwise they'll be given to you on the person if they're items that have to be. Players will also be able to buy an Exalted Pass, as well as similar to a Premium Pass in many other games, and this will allow you to claim Premium-only milestones and also boost their progress with gold, similar to what the other campaigns have already provided us with. Now, boosting is not allowed to be done without having an Exalted Pass, so let's just go on to Exalted Pass rewards. Will accumulate with other regular pass points. So in this, it means pretty much that, similar to other games where you would buy a premium pass and then you would go ahead and complete that pass, your premium pass will roll over to the next one, as long as you completed it for that month. Otherwise, you'll lose it completely. But look, this is perfect for those that want to go ahead and play for longer than 8 weeks and continue to play and still have that premium pass. So, yeah, it's pretty crap in some points, and I get that. That's fine. A lot of people don't like it, and look, this is a heated area, so I'd like to leave it optimistic, or at least have an optimistic view on things. To say that things are about to change, whether that be better or for worse, only time shows. This has the potential to bring in more players whilst maintaining its current play base. And I've heard it many times from players that are returning to RotMG that they say, look, I love this game and I love how much it's grown, but they appreciate the fact that the roots are still there, and although so much has happened, it's not too much for them to jump in and experience new changes without having to pull teeth out along the way. And I don't mind, in my heart of hearts, the Battle Pass isn't exactly a bad idea depending on the cost that is involved. And as said, the longevity of your playtime will extend further than 8 weeks. Go for this pass. I think it's amazing. I don't understand why people wouldn't, because it's $10 for you to play for an entire year with free battle passes if you feel like you're going to make it. You could even go 2 years. I don't know how long this will go for. For me, I might buy it once and see how I go. If I don't make it the first or second time, I might give it up and just play normally, because free to play is just amazing. Like it's been so rewarding. So hopefully they understand this. Envy breeds jealousy, and jealousy breeds hate. And for those that can't afford those, hopefully the Battle Pass prizes are fair between those two, because those who choose to play the game and those who choose to support the game should be treated in the same boat as the same audience, with just certain gifts along the way. To wrap it up sort of in a way, additionally, the team is also working on smaller changes to the game. For example, bots, cheaters, and make alterations to the Forge, as well as items, which include UTs and S-tiered items. Now, finally, this brings us along to one other thing which they haven't mentioned in a while, and that's for enchantments. And look, they're trying to make this work, but they have to pave the way for enchantments to come in first, and I believe that's where the weapon and item changes are coming in first. So, alright, that's it for this one. And look, it's been an amazing insight into what this year is going to be about. And look, there's some parts of this update I've chosen not to include, and that's because A, it might be a bit sensitive, and it's for a good reason. Look, I feel that this post was just an insight, and I'd like to see extensively more into the topic before I review them, as I feel I might be throwing things out that might cause confusion for other players that might still love this game and be sensitive about this topic. So look, I thank you all for watching this. Please comment, let me know what you think, because this is going to be probably one of the biggest changes I've seen to RotMG in a very long time. But yeah, otherwise, I'll see you in the next one, and I look forward to talking to you in the comment section below. And if you haven't checked out already, check out some of my other videos and be sure to subscribe. Alright, this is Solz. Peace.